love lay me down by the river. Drifting I turn on upstream, bound for my forgiver.
Just a little taste of what you're going to hear Thursday night. Anderson Ponte Band, Fox Theater, downtown Tucson, beautiful historic Fox Theater, 7:30. FoxTheater.com to get your tickets. We are happy to have John Anderson calling in from the beautiful California coast. So, John, welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, John, I have a question I want to ask. I've wondered this for a long, long time.
That's Dave Slavin, if anyone didn't know it.
Yeah. Hey, so, John, back when Yes formed, and the original, when you met Chris Squire and you folks were formulating how the band was going to be, and this is kind of a three-part question. What were your major influences at that time? Your inspirations? How did the band come to be? And and I guess this maybe should have been the first part of the question, where do you see the start of progressive rock music? I have a theory that progressive rock music started with the song Good Vibrations, which in the United States people thought, oh, the Beach Boys, they're just a surf band. But over in England, you folks had a different perspective on it.
Yeah, I tend to think it was Tomorrow Never Knows from Revolver. When I heard that, and when I still hear it, it's like pretty mind-blowing. And the Beatles pushed that energy through, obviously, Eleanor Rigby. Things like this just came through as like bolts of lightning to me. And, of course, the Beach Boys were following suit. The main things that happened towards I think it was 68, there was a band called Vanilla Fudge. They did a song, they did a full album, and they did a song, Set Me Free, Why Don't You, Babe?
Right.
And they slowed it down.
That's right.
Wait a minute, you can actually change a song's tempo and structure. And that's what was the beginning of when we started Yes. I was very into the great writing of Jimmy Webb. You know, he actually did an album called With the Fifth Dimension.
Right.
And Here Inside My Paper Cup, Everything Is Looking Up, and the songs like that. These are the songs that Yes first started performing. When we first started our first tour, shows, whatever, we were doing songs like songs from the Fifth Dimension album, Jimmy Webb. We were doing different versions of Beatles songs like Every Little Thing She Does, Every Little Thing She Does, you know.
Yeah.
And just modifying ideas, musically speaking. So when we started writing our own music, songs that me and Chris wrote together, or I came along with an idea and we started working together as a team, we were always sort of able to experiment because we as a group, there was Bill Bruford, Tony Kaye, Peter Banks, and Chris, and myself. As we started, we weren't from the same town. We weren't from the same city, like Liverpool or Manchester or Glasgow or whatever. We were all from all different parts of England, so we all had different thoughts about music. I mean, Bill was a jazz fanatic, so he had jazz influence in his playing, and Chris came from a very... he loves schoolboy choir. You know, he was a very choral sort of person, musically speaking. He'd play the bass like a melody here and there. So everybody added their own feeling into each track, and it wasn't hard to let them just do it. It just seemed to come together very easily. And that's how the band started and became its own sort of energy. And of course, as time progressed, Steve Howe joined in the band, and he was Steve Howe with incredible knowledge of guitar. He would play some classical music to me, and I'd write a song with him, and then we'd come on stage and we'd do different kinds of things. And he would do a solo guitar piece, and then we wrote Roundabout together, and all those songs, And You and I, and all the songs that developed the band. So then Rick Wakeman joined the band, and all of a sudden we had an incredible classical pianist and an incredible composer. So there was so much musical influence within the band in those first 2 or 3 years that sort of pushed us along.
So as you were moving through the early part of your career, and there's these other musical groups out there that are also pushing the envelope like Yes was, were there any other musical acts or groups out there that you looked at and said, wow, they pushed it to that next level, we can go there too?
I remember when we first saw King Crimson. They were playing in the Speakeasy Club, the well-known pub in London, and me and Chris went there to see them play. We'd heard about them, but we hadn't heard any music. And after their first session, which was the first half of their album, I looked at Chris and said, I think we have to start rehearsing more.
So this was still them on Court of the Crimson King album in '69?
Yeah, that was their first album. And they played it live. There it was, and it sounded incredible.
Wow.
Incredible. It blew my mind and made me say, we've got to start rehearsing harder.
Wow. Progressive rock definitely came from a British influence, didn't it?
Yeah, more or less, I think. But then Zappa did it. As you see, a lot of us loved and appreciated what Zappa was up to. And, of course, at that beginnings of Yes, Weather Report, my Vishnu Orchestra came along. We were doing our tour, and they opened up for us and the Kinks.
And
Their first gig was at the New York State University. And so, again, we were standing there watching Mahavishnu rehearse and sound check, and we couldn't believe them. It was just unbelievable music.
Wow.
We're on with John Anderson of Anderson Ponte Band, of course, and Yes fame. They're playing Thursday night at the historic, beautiful Fox Theater this Thursday night, 7:30. Get your tickets at foxtheater.com. Now, John, we do have to talk about the loss of your friend and musical giant, Mr. Squire.
Yeah, he's very tall.
Explain Chris's not just position in relation to Yes, because he is the one of the rocks of the foundation.
Sure.
But in music at all, overall in rock music, what is Chris's position?
One of the great bass players of all time. One of the most musical bass players of all time. Wild and wonderful and crazy. I remember that I was able to get in touch with him and reconnect with him before he passed away. And all I wanted to say was thank you. Because without you, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I'm so grateful. Get well. That was what I sent to him. And he reiterated that to me. And it was a very powerful moment when he passed away. It was very, very powerful on many levels.
How long did you know he was that ill? Did you know it for a long time?
No, a couple of months. Sometimes you wonder how he managed to survive at times. He's laughing at me now. He is, honestly. We're so connected now. And he was so funny. He was so damn funny. He was so dry. He was always late. That was his big thing. He was always late. He drove Trevor Rabin crazy on tour. He drove everybody crazy on tour. We're gonna catch the next plane. We're gonna miss the next plane. Where's Chris? Eventually, he wandered down. Oh, well, what's the matter, guys? Chris, we're late.
I know.
They're gonna put it on my tombstone. The late Chris Squire.
There's always that story when you guys are playing Madison Square Garden with the 90125 crew, and you guys had a packed stadium arena, and Chris was nowhere to be found.
True. It's just one of those things. But he never played bad. He always played great. And we had this thing about that on stage. I'd look at him, look at me, and he'd just look at me with a look in his eye and smile. And he'd be playing the most beautiful, beautiful bass work. And he was stellar, right, until the last time I played with him, which was about 10 years ago, but it was still 12 years ago. But I still remember how amazingly beautiful and connected we were on stage.
When you look at retrospect, and maybe he knew he was sick earlier than everyone else and didn't let anyone on how sick he was. Do you think it changes everyone's perspective on maybe some of the decisions that were made over the last 10 years?
Hard to know. Yeah, I tend to think that, life for him was very different from me. We're very yin and yang. He was Darth Vader to my Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wow.
That's what he said.
Interesting perspective on that.
Hey, John, I know we said a couple of... Can we get one more small segment out of you?
Please.
One, please, because we want to talk about Anderson Ponte future. We want to talk about your work with Trevor Rabin and Rick Wakeman, and then we got one big question about the whole Yes thing we want to get to.
Okay.
So thank you, John. John Anderson, Anderson Ponte Band, coming up a couple days, Thursday night at the Fox Theater, downtown Tucson, an amazing location to see John Anderson, Jean-Luc Ponty, and the Anderson Ponte Band, foxtheater.com. We'll be right back in just a few minutes with one last segment with John Anderson.